Hello, welcome back. My name is Charlie, and we are up to part 12 of this long-running TBR culling series that I've been doing here on the channel. This is a series all about me trying to make my want-to-read shelf on Goodreads into something that's manageable. I had nearly 1,000 books on that list when this all began, and we have been whittling it down over the course of months, over a year now, into something actually helpful, hopefully. We'll see where we end up. If this is your first time here on the channel, this is your first video of mine that you're watching, I wouldn't worry about that too much. You're probably fine to just stick it out here. Let me tell you a little bit more about how the series has been so far. The first 10 of these videos has been me going through that list, that export of my want to reads shelf on Goodreads, one by one, and taking things off that I thought that I wasn't ever going to get around to, and leaving things on that I was still very excited about. And then in the last video that I did, part 11, I went through parts 1 through 5, and I combed through the comments and made any updates based on those comments in those videos. So that was fun. And today, we're just finishing out the list. So we're going through parts 6 through 11. I'm going to respond also to the comments in the last video and just make changes based off of those. If there are still books that people think that I've made a mistake on, I will update them to reflect those, what they think I should do. Longtime viewers of this series may be wondering what is next for the series. I don't fully have it all planned out yet. You would think that I would know everything that I want to do with the series, but longtime viewers may be wondering what's next? What's next for this series? And I don't have a full answer for you here, but I do know that the next installment of this series, like episode 13, hopefully coming out next month, is going to be pretty much just like a recap, going through and talking about where we started, where we ended up, how many books I took off, what I left on, what I'm most excited for maybe, and then, we'll see from there. But I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm really looking forward to seeing how much of this list we actually trimmed, because I don't really know. I haven't been too mindful of the numbers on there. The spreadsheet thing that I'm using is not very easy to use. So we'll see. I'm very excited to see how we actually did. I think we did pretty well though. And then from there, honestly, I think it might just be kind of done for a little while. There are a few directions that I'm toying with going with the series, but it might just be time to take a little break and revisit this sort of idea again in the future. I do have ideas for things that I could do to play with this, so I'm not ruling any of those out entirely, but I don't know. It might just be time. After, this month and then next month, we might just take a break. We'll see what happens. If you have any ideas too, I would love to hear that. I'm all ears. I'd be happy to hear any ideas you have for how I could continue the series, or how you would like me to continue the series. If you've been thinking like, oh, this is fun, but I wish you would do this with it, or anything like that, let me know. I'm really, open to suggestions. But that's enough of an intro here for a series that I've been doing for over a year. So I'm gonna stop blabbing and we're just gonna jump right into it, starting with part 6. All right, so last time we left off, we had finished part 5, and today we're going to pick up right where we left off with part 6. So let's head down to the comments. Right away, we have Mair yelling at me so loud and so angry. Hi, Mair. I'm going to be putting I Am Not a Serial Killer back on the list. She feels very strongly about that, and I respect that. I am not a serial killer. Okay, it goes back on the list. And then we have Alvin telling me that The Perfect Storm is worth a read. He said it was exciting and gripping. Okay, I mean, it does have good ratings. I see, Goodreads at the time, at least, that I made my export, it was sitting at a 4.11, which is good. I think I assumed that the movie would kind of cover it, but he said that the movie was all right, but the book was really good. So That's cool. He said that there's Isola over here is a graphic novel, and he said the art's really good and it's a good taste of fantasy graphic novel, but the story didn't stick, so I'm not going to be putting that back on my list. Oh, and this is where Alvin had recommended Seven to Eternity to me for the first time. I think he says he's been recommending it to anyone who will listen. When this comment was made, this is 6 months ago, I was like, oh, I'm totally going to check that out. And I said that and I meant it. Yeah, I'll be sure to check that out. I opened up the first issue because the first issue is available online for free. And so I opened it up in a tab and I was like, I'm going to read this later. And then that tab stayed open and unread for like 4 months before I closed it. I do want to read it. I just keep not doing it. So that's a good reminder for me to really give that an honest attempt here. You know what? I bet that's not on my TBR on Goodreads, and I am officially adding it to the TBR. There we go. It's on my shelf now. That should be good. Then we have Sam Harrison over here. He's responding to some questions that I had asked about Daredevil comics because I came across 3 in a row that were on my list, and I wanted to narrow that down to just a single Daredevil comment. And it looks like I had assumed I should start with Yellow, and here he is confirming that choice. So I'm going to be updating that. That goes back on the TBR, but the others can stay off until I read that. If I like it, then I can read the Miller one, and then Smith, then Bendis, and Brubaker, then Wade. Wow, okay, so he gave a lot of recommendations there. He's a big Daredevil fan, so came to the right place with that question. So that was good. That was easy. Then we have Leeds Devil. I added the God Killer series and the Tools of the Ghost to the TBR. Elf Flame says that I should keep Fables, and that's, I think, a good call there. I think at the time I was talking about how Fables has been on the TBR forever. I've wanted to read it forever, but I never do. So I was going to take it off, and I felt good about it at the time, and all that. But it does make sense that this should stay. It does sound really interesting. I don't know. I shouldn't have taken it off. It stays on. So that's good. Eli EQ8WI is telling me that I should read and every morning the way home gets longer and longer. So short but so good. And I said I'd get right on it, and then it took me a long time, but I did read it. I read it last month and I loved it. So you were 100% correct. I'm very glad that stayed on my list, and that I chose to pick it up, and that I read it. It was fantastic. Thank you for your comment. Okay, then we have Charlotte Sharami telling me that I should keep the Kindworth Killing on my list. Where is that? The Kindworth Killing is right here by Peter Swanson. That stays on or goes back on. And then they are also telling me that I should keep the Kindworth Killing. Wait, no, sorry. The last time that I lied. The time worth killing is the one I just talked about. The last time that I lied is over here, Riley Sager, and they say that was a really good time. So that stays. They also called me out because I still have not read Juliette Marier's book. I think that's how you pronounce that name. But I will. I'm so sorry. It's taking me forever. I have promised you so many times that I will be picking that up, and I will be picking that up. I think about it often. I just haven't done it. By the end of the year, I will have read that book. I promise. All right, and there were 2 Tchaikovsky recommendations here. So Charlotte had said Walking to Aldebaran was extremely weird, but also quite funny and mind-blowing. So that sold them on the author, which is cool, because that's what I want to know. I want to know where to start with Adrian Tchaikovsky. I've not read anything by them. But then I have Cinna also saying that the novella Elder Race was their intro to Tchaikovsky, and that it might be a good place to consider as my starting point for Tchaikovsky. So I still don't know then. There's 2 recommendations there. I only want to pick one Tchaikovsky. I think I'm going to give Walking to Aldebaran a question mark. And Elder Race, I'm going to do the same thing because I need to think more. But maybe those are good places to consider starting at the very least. And that's it for that video. That was pretty quick. That was pretty easy. So we can move straight on to part 7 here. Here's somebody pointing out that it is an insane choice that I made to not update my Goodreads as I go. They were correct. I thought that I would be able to import this list after I edit it to Goodreads, and while that is true, I think it will be a pain in the butt. So I can't decide if it's going to be easier to just manually go through at the end and update, or if I should really try to figure out how to do this, the import to fix this for me. But I did dig myself into a hole, and they did catch that, and they were right. But at this point, I had already been going for months. This is part 7, so it was too late to change. Here we are. Here's Cinna telling me that the notifications on my Goodreads bugged him. So let's go over here to my Goodreads and just zoom in on my nice new notification for today. I'll leave that up on screen for a sec so you can soak that up. I'll even go over here, see it in a different location on the page. Look at that, it's right over there now. Ain't that nice? So here, Elflame is telling me that The Wayward Children is a great series. Queer, almost retellings of Doorway World, but that they're also really about finding out who you are and not letting others force you to be who they want you to be. That sounds like it is worth reading. They also said that they're nice short reads and easy to fit in between other books. That sounds great. And it looks like I must have immediately updated this list when they said that. So that is on my radar. That stays there. Yeah, it stays on the list. So cool. I'll keep that there. I wonder if you've picked up Bird by Bird yet. If you've given that a shot, let me know. Here's Dani over at Dani B Reading telling me that The Dispossessed is a great, or at least it was their entry point into Ursula K. Le Guin, who's an author that I do really want to check out at some point. And it does seem like this would be a good spot to start. And with their recommendation, I'm all in. Here's Sam telling me that he's planning on reading the book It, over Halloween, and I believe he is doing that. So good for you for sticking to that. Here's me saying that I'm going to read something by Stephen King this year, and that, I don't know if that's actually going to be true. We'll see if I pick anything up by the end of the year, but it's not currently looking like any Stephen King is on my short list, but that could change. That could change at any point. Leeds Devil telling me that I should keep The Pillars of the Earth on my list with a really convincing argument. So that is going to go back on. I am bummed that I didn't do this video earlier like I should have. I think I was supposed to do this video last month and I didn't, but that's a shame because I know that a local library did a sale very recently and I could have picked up this book for $1. But I missed out on that, so that's a bummer, but that's my own fault. And just like that, we're already moving on to part 8. This is going swimmingly. This is easy so far. Senna telling me that I was right. Neil Asher is a terrible person. I think I only knew that because of you, and I couldn't remember at the time, and then here you are reminding me again, so thank you for that. I will not be reading their books. Here's an interesting one. So Brian Wilson, indie author, wrote The Forsaken Planet, and here's Senna telling me that wasn't for them. They thought it was mediocre, tropey, not for them, really. But that it's one of the few books that can blend sci-fi and fantasy perfectly. And I do think that it is going to stay on my list because of that, because I am still struggling to weasel my way into being a sci-fi fan. I want to like it, which I say all the time. I don't know why that is, but I want to like sci-fi more than I do right now. So I think if it's a really good blend of fantasy mixed in with the sci-fi, I just do have a better chance of enjoying it. So I am going to keep that on here, knowing that it may not work for me, but that it's worth a shot, I think. Here's Alvin telling me that I should do something when I'm fully done with this. The final book on the list has to go to the top of my TBR without question, and I will read it immediately. And I do think that's a pretty fun idea. I do like that. So maybe by the end of this, whatever is the bottom most book on the TBR. Maybe I'll stick to that. I think that's a good idea. Here's Alvin also telling me to let him know when I read The Fisherman, so we can pick that up together. And it's very fun because we did that. I read The Fisherman with Alvin, and actually Leeds Devil read it with us as well, or I read it with them more like. But that was great. That was super fun. It's fun to see kind of the origin of that communication here. Oh, and then in my reply, I called out his suggestion to read the newest edition, like the one at the bottom of the list. And I said maybe it'll be a good idea to also read the oldest edition to the list, like the topmost book on the TBR, which off the top of my head, I'm not sure what it is. So that'd be interesting as well when I'm done to see the two of those, what they are. The one that I added earliest in my Goodreads history, and then the one at the end of this list we've been working on. Mair saying that she thinks that I've tagged her in every one of these videos. I am positive that I did, because Mair talks about books all the time on the internet. She's always screaming about them, and I hear it almost every day. And so I get a lot of recommendations from Mair, and a lot in the opposite direction. So I do not doubt that I have tagged Mair in every single one of these videos. Here's Dani talking about how I said that I want to do like a full month of strictly reading novellas, and I still love that idea. I always thought it'd be like a novella November would be a fun, like, kind of alliteration sort of thing. And November is coming up, and so it very well may be a thing. Also, because as I keep mentioning in every video now on this channel, I'm having a baby in, like, the due date is 10 days from now, so it's right around the corner. And that I do think that in the month of November, I am going to have almost no choice but to read short books if I want to finish anything, at least, because I think it'll just be easier for me. I'll be reading a lot with, like, one hand while I hold a baby, probably, so it might be nice to have nice light little books. That's my thought process, at least. So November might be a really good month for short books, so maybe that's where that'll happen. I'm very much looking forward to that. I love novellas. I'm realizing here that in my comment to Dani, I did also mention novella November. So it really has been an idea of mine for a long time. Here's a conversation between me and another friend of mine with a YouTube channel, Rachel at Reading Faerie. We were talking about the cover for Michael Miller's Way of the Wizard and how cool that is. And it is a really cool cover, but I had taken it off my list pretty much because Mair hated it so much. But here we're saying how we should just read it together, and then we can see if Mair is right or if it's a book that deserves the cover. I'm going to put it back on my TBR just because of that conversation. I don't know if we will ever actually read it together, but Rachel, if you're ever down, I'm down. Another video down on to part 9. We're cruising. I think we might have talked about this in the last video, but Senna telling me to remove Call Me By Your Name, which I have done. They said that there are so many other great coming-of-age contemporary gay novels, and I have failed to pick up any of these, but they are all high on my list. I don't know why I haven't gotten to any of them. I think Young Mungo is probably where I would start, although Swimming in the Dark and Lie With Me also did sound really good. I remember reading the synopsis of those. I couldn't tell you what they're about right in this moment, but I remember thinking that all three of these did sound really good. Young Mungo, for some reason, stands out to me ahead of the other two, so that's probably where I'll start. But yeah, I am looking forward to that. Leeds Devil calling me out for not reading the Wood at Midwinter, and you are correct. I know it's insane that I haven't done it yet. This is Susanna Clark. It's like a short story. Yeah, they're saying here it's a leisurely 15-minute read. I should absolutely pick that up, and I should do it ASAP. Maybe that's a good one for next month, even though it's at that point it's a short story, not really a novella, but still maybe it fits into the theme of next month being just like short books, and maybe short stories can fit in between the novellas that I'd read. That's a good idea. Yeah, you're 100% right. I should pick that up ASAP. I should also read The Ladies of Grace Adieu. I just got a notification that Alvin liked my update for Seven to Eternity, which is very funny because he's gonna now watch me update that once this video comes out. Here's Charlotte Sharami telling me, or suggesting, A House with Good Bones for a buddy read in October, which we did here on the channel. And I hope you were able to join it. I'm not sure. I don't remember seeing you in the discussion channels, which is fine. You don't have to participate in the discussions, but I'm curious if you liked it. If you're here watching this and you read it along with us this month, let me know your thoughts. And here we also said that we should read The Cautious Traveler's Guide to the Wastelands whenever either one of us gets to that. So let me know if you picked that up as well. Would love to hear it. Another quick one. We're moving on to part 10 here. Somebody asking me if I have a Goodreads account, which is funny only because the whole list is an export of my Goodreads. But yes, I do. I absolutely do have a Goodreads account. The link is here at the bottom here, but I think my name's just Charlie on there. I don't even know if it's Charlie Read a Book. Just Charlie. Feel free to add me. I think I link it in the description of all of my videos too. Okay, here's a really important note by Tari Gibson. They say that the Gap series, while it's good, it's an interesting sci-fi story told in a really unique way, and that her husband loved the series, that it's a lot of triggers in there. So they said pretty much, if you're considering reading the Gap series, just make sure you look up the trigger warnings. So that's a really, really helpful piece of advice. I really appreciate that being shared. And I'm just sharing it here again for anybody else who may be considering reading the Gap Cycle series by Stephen R. Donaldson. This is a comment from 6 days ago that I intentionally have not replied to because I knew I was going to make this video, and I planned on making this video multiple days ago, and I just didn't get around to it until now. So I saved this specifically for this video. I'm going to respond to your comment in the video, and then I will reply to this comment. But first, I'm going to react to it live. You're saying that The Practice of the Horizon and The Chain is not too smart for me. Okay, I hope that that's true. Well-written prose, not as amazing as you'd hoped, a bit obvious in its message, and follows a pretty predictable path. I still really want to read this. I do believe you, but I still think it's worth a read. I've heard several people that were really into it, and that may be specifically because the prose is beautiful. So I am still curious enough to check it out, but I appreciate that response there. I maybe we'll read that next month in my novella month. You had a similar reaction to the Alcatraz and Evil Librarians book by Brandon Sanderson. I think that's a series, but I don't know what it's called. I'm still curious about that one, but I do believe it's like probably more geared towards children, like you're saying here. You know, you didn't find it very memorable. Maybe kids do. I think this one is one that would like stay on my list with the intention of reading it eventually when my kids are old enough to sit down and like have me read them a book, and I need something for that age group. I think it sounds like it'll be fun for that, but it doesn't necessarily sound like, especially from what you're saying here, it's something that I need to read on my own anytime soon. Here's Charlotte once more telling me that I need to read The Daughter of the Forest, which is that Juliette Maurier book that I mentioned earlier. You're correct. I'm just going to say it again. I promise I'm going to read that by the end of the year. Sword Heart, very, very good call out as well. I don't think I actually own that one. But it's T. Kingfisher book that I really want to get to. Upstairs, I have something else by them that I want to read. A Sorceress Comes to Call. That's the one. I want to read that, and then Sword Heart will be my next T. Kingfisher probably. Oh, but book 3 in the What Moves the Dead, whatever that is called, that series. The third book just came out, and that's a novella. So maybe that's next, actually, instead. This is a tangent nobody cares about. I should read Sword Heart. You are correct. Here's Tim of Tim Burbage Reads, another friend of mine with another YouTube channel. The Girl of Ink and Stars. is a debut novel. I believe this is like a middle grade book, Kieran Millwood Hargrave. And he says it's great. Debut and a fun fantasy story. A lot lighter than Julia and the Shark, but not a piece of fluff by any means. So I think that sounds like it's worth a read. So that's going to go back on the list. Kind of surprised that I took it off, but it's back on now. Don't worry. Tim is also telling me that the Dark is Rising sequence, I guess that's the name of the series, or I don't know, it's a sequence. They said pretty much not really worth reading over tons of great middle grade fantasy that is out there. And Tim is like the guy for middle grade fantasy. I feel like he reads a lot of it. He knows what's good, and I take his recommendations very seriously, especially in that space. So thank you, Tim. That's going to go off of my list. Elflame is telling me that Breeds of Man should stay on my list. It's right over here. They say it's a sci-fi story about trying to cure AIDS, but the cure causes a new problem. And then the rest of the story is trying to find a solution to that new problem, which that does sound very interesting. So, okay, I can keep that on. A couple people in a row telling me that Haru Was Here was really well done, and that the author seems really nice, which is great. Leeds Devil specifically says that it feels like it tugs at your heartstrings and then slaps them around a little bit. So that sounds wonderful. I will be keeping that on my list. I kept it on before. It stays now as well. Sam Harrison telling me that The Good Father is one of his favorite books of all time, so that stays on my list. No questions asked. Thank you very much, Sam. Here's me talking yet again about the Daughter of the Forest, this time though with Dani B Reading, who also wants to read that book. And I said I'm hoping to get to it soon, but that's up to future me, and that guy's crazy. It's still up to future me because present me still hasn't read it yet. I'm so sorry, past me. Soon. Here's Tim telling me that Martin Eden is brilliant. This is a Jack London book. Tim is also the guy to go to for Jack London recommendations. He's read a ton of them, at least 12, because he read one a month last year. But I think he's read more than just that. So Martin Eden, highly recommended by Tim. Also, though, he mentions here that it's quite different from his other famous works like Call of the Wild, and I'm only calling that out because I just picked Call of the Wild up for free at a library recently, because I signed my 22-month-old son up for a library card, and they said that he could get a free book, and he was not interested at all. So I said, fine, I'll get a free book. And I did. And it was called The Wild. So I'm very excited about that. But at some point I will also pick up Martin Eden. Well, I guess if I like Call of the Wild, I'll pick up Martin Eden. Thank you so much. Oh, and Dungeon Runners does sound so good. I think, what was it? Rachel just read this recently too. Tim is a big fan of this, but I think Rachel said this felt almost like Dungeon Crawler Carl, but for kids, which is so fun. I love that idea. So I would love to read that. My nephew, you're saying here you think he would love it too, and I think you're right. I think that'd be really fun to read that with him. Okay, and that's the last comment on this video. So we're done with the first 10 of these. So now we're here at part 11. Part 11 is the video that I filmed 2 months ago. Like I said, I had to miss last month's upload of this series, so that's why we're doing it today. So last month, or 2 months ago, sorry, part 11, I did what I'm doing today. I went through the comments for part 1 through part 5, and I made adjustments. And so on that video, I got almost 60 comments. I think it was 59 comments on that video, including my own, but whatever. And so now I'm going to go through and react to the comments from that video right now. Okay, so Mair said that I should keep the Priory books off of my list, which I think I had already done. Yes, I had. I'm fully comfortable with that choice. Books and Chocoholic, another friend of mine with another YouTube channel, they agreed, don't put that back on the list. Totally not putting it on the list. I'm glad that I got some people telling me that was the right choice. This is funny. This Timo here, a friend of mine, says, wow, that Timo guy comments a lot. You know whose name I didn't see in any of these videos we went through today, Timo? I didn't see this one. I didn't see Timo on today's videos. Thanks a lot. I guess that's where you dropped off, part 5, and you said, I'm done. I'm kidding. I don't care. You spend your time how you want to spend it. Okay. Here's Rachel choosing to fight me on telling me that I don't need to read Shadow and Bone first. I can jump straight into Six of Crows, but then also threatening me and that I have to do it because it's one of their favorite duologies of all time. Okay, I'm sold. We talked about that a little bit in the comments here. I'm sold. I'll read Six of Crows. Did I take that off? I can't even remember. It won't let me search it because it's in all caps. I don't even think Six of Crows is on my list. But I think, what did I do with Shadow and Bone? I left Shadow and Bone on my list. But I guess you're telling me that I should not even bother with Shadow and Bone and just go straight to Six of Crows. So sure. All right, why not? Here, you can witness me. I'm on the Goodreads page here for Six of Crows, and boom, want to read. It's not on this list. It's not on my export. Shadow and Bone is. I guess I'll take that off. I'm taking it off. Boom. Gone. Shadow and Bone is gone. Six of Crows is on. There we go. I hope you don't kill me now, but we'll see. Here's someone telling me that they subscribed from the video from 2 months ago, which is super cool. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate that. They love this idea. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you to say. And I know I've seen you commenting on a few of my other videos as well since subscribing a couple months ago. So thank you so much for that. Here's Mair and Rachel again arguing about, not really arguing, but they're both telling me, the shadow of what was lost. Mair says to read it. Rachel says to not read it. I think I'll keep it on the list. I am one of very few people who did not like The Will of the Many, which I've mentioned multiple times on this channel, and that's by the same author, but Mair says it's a very different book and that she still recommends it, and Rachel said she won't kill me if I do leave it on the list. So I think that's the safest move, because Mair, I do think, would kill me if I do fully take it off. So there we go. I'll leave it on. Here's one and only WM3 lying to me, saying that they are writing out their reactions and that they'll have an updated comment after they finish watching the video. And they didn't. And you thought I wouldn't notice, but I did. But I don't actually care. But it's funny. It's funny that he did that. Spooky Space Book, right there. Yogi and Tauri Gibson. We said we do it. We didn't do it yet, but we do it soon. I'm very close to finishing the book that I'm currently reading, which is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying a Vampire. Really, really fun book, but I think this is the book that I'm going to read immediately after that. So stay tuned. And if you want to read it, then read it with me. That sounds fun. A couple people responded about the print that my father-in-law did that I shared in that last video, which I appreciate, because I also think it was really cool. I was glad that I got to show it here. And the final comment on this is Rachel saying to put the Whispering Door back. Okay, I will do it. I said I'll give it a good thinking, and I gave it a good thinking, and I'm gonna add it back, mostly because it's the final comment, and why not? I'll put it back on. I know I'm going to get to it eventually. So, boom, we'll do it. It's on. You're welcome. And I'm going to give your comment a like, too. I'm going to heart it. There you go. That's it. That's the end of the comments. I guess there will be comments on this video. Do I do a follow-up video just to respond to the comments on this one? I don't know. And that is it. That brings us to the end of the list and the end of essentially this series, at least in this format for a while. The next video, as I said at the beginning of this one, is going to be a little bit of a recap, a wrap up, how we did in this TBR Cull series that we've been working on here, you and me together, for over a year. So that should be really fun. And then from there, we'll see what happens. But like I said at the beginning, it's very likely that I'll be taking kind of a break from this format, because A, we're done with the list, and B, because I think it just, we need to branch out. We got to switch it up. And I think I'll still be playing with, some concepts based on this series, some concepts based on, the progress that we made. And, maybe I've got some challenges in my mind that I could, try to specifically knock off books that we talked about here. I think there also could be a video that I do, maybe not next month, but the month after, where I tie up some loose ends where, we talked about which Stephen King book do I want to start with? Which Adrian Tchaikovsky book do I want to start with? Things like that, like narrowing down some of these open-ended questions that I've had kind of this whole time that I've been trying to hone in on my final answers, although I may just lump those into next month's video too. We'll see. That sort of thing, though. Things that I will do with this series, even though the series in its current state is over. I want to thank you so much to those of you who followed along the entire time, and those of you who participated in the comments section the entire time. I had a lot of fun making these videos, even though they're kind of a lot of work. I have to sit here and record these videos for a lot longer than I have to record most of my videos, and then the editing takes also a lot longer than most of my videos. And it's not like the fun editing. It's just like sitting here watching myself talk and just like cutting out silences and things like that. So it takes a long time, and it's just me sitting here doing it. So that aside, this has been very fun. So again, I really, really appreciate everybody who has supported this series and who has had fun watching this. I really did get a lot out of it. And I guess we'll see again next month how much I got out of it exactly in terms of, like the actual list and its updated form or state or whatever. If this is your first time here on the channel, this is your first, video in this series, that's wild that you started at the end, but I hope that was fine. And if you are this far in, then I assume you enjoyed it. And I'm happy to let you know that there are 11 other videos already out there ready for you to watch. There's a whole playlist here. It'll be somewhere on YouTube in the description or whatever. So feel free to check it out. And, don't hesitate to comment even if you're a year late on a video. I still check them. So go ahead. That's really all I have for you here today. If you do have any comments on the choices I made in today's video, books that I took off that you think I should have left on, books that I left on that you think I should have taken off, feel free to let me know. I won't be addressing them in a future video, but I will reply to your comment, and I will still make updates to the list based off of your comments. That's it. Thank you again, and I will see you next week. Maybe, unless I have a baby by next week. We'll see. I have no clue. I'll see you when I see you. Thanks. Bye.